Hey, how's it going everyone? Snow here and welcome back to Destiny 2. In today's video we're going to be talking about how to improve your sniping. I made a video similar to this a while back, but some things have changed that have altered my feelings on certain perks, so I decided to make another one. This will be similar to my others as it won't be anything crazy, we'll just go with the flow and I'll speak here as if you and I were discussing in a fire team. I'm not one for breaking things down and everything being professional because that's just not my thing. In this season, the meta has shifted back towards the pulse rifles and shotguns, but for those of you dedicated to sniping, this is the video for you. We'll start things off by talking about the ease of use of a sniper. Coming out of the season of the auto rifle, things have become a little complicated. Last season, you didn't have to worry too much about being engaged at longer ranges by many different things since most primary weapons were auto rifles and hand cannons. It was very easy to fight through flinch mid to long range as it didn't make your reticle go haywire. It's necessary to touch on the past before progressing into the present and foreseeable future of sniping. This season is quite a bit different in the transition to more pulse rifles. Pulse rifles are generally easy to snipe through, same as auto rifles and hand cannons, but one I've found to be incredibly tough is bygones, specifically with high caliber rounds, so it's very important to be on the lookout for that as well as mighty users. So tip number one is awareness, knowing what you're up against. Knowing what your opponent is using allows you to strategically place yourself around the map to give yourself the advantage. In the past, Revoker sidearm was the play because you had all ends covered with minimal consequences of missing a shot. With Revoker being sunsetted, it's very important to begin moving forward and being a bit more stingy with your shots. I'm going to repeat this again in my next point, but as of now, we're going to continue being aware of the enemies. Obviously, if they're running a shotgun last word for example, you know they're going to do everything they can to push and close the gap. So your best bet is to keep them just out of optimal range for them, but within range of you to be successful. Another important tip is being familiar with what you're up against. How hard does it flinch? Can it one-shot you, and if so, from how far? What's the TTK of the weapon, and how many shots can you take before death? Sidearms are still effective to pair with the sniper, as well as the last word. That's going to be for those of you who enjoy aggressive sniping. Map awareness is just important in knowing what lanes are effective sniping lanes and what maps are easier to use a sniper than others. Knowing escape routes when becoming overwhelmed is critical in modes such as trials or survival. A saying of mine is that every map is a sniping map. That statement is very true if you know exactly how maps are played and you have the right things to help you take advantage of the situations you know you'll be put in. There are a lot of tools to utilize and we'll get into them very soon. Tip number two, and this is more for like new snipers, is just take your time. As I mentioned before, Revoker is being sunset, and this tip is more crucial now and going forward than it's been the last few seasons. With Revoker, you can miss your shots and it come back to you, but going forward, that mentality needs to be tossed aside. Sniping is meant to be precise. Now as you become used to it, your speed will increase. By no means am I saying to hardscope in the back of the map because that's not really going to help much in the grand scheme of things, but I'm also not saying to jump in the middle of 4 people trying to hit no scopes. I rely on a passive aggressive or a baity style of play, and each scenario is different. Move around and in the meantime pay close attention to where the middle of your screen is, and if sprinting, the upside down V. That V is going to be where you scope in whether you're running, sliding, or even jumping. Jumping is a bit more complicated, especially on hunters, because whereas Titans and Warlocks have glides and freaking jetpacks, the hunter has to wait until the very peak of its jump to be accurate. From the peak to the time you start to land is where you're most accurate in the air as a hunter. Even though I just spoke on that the point of this tip was to slow you down a bit and to focus on precision over anything else, to start I would recommend feet on the ground before taking the shot. As time goes on, you'll gain not only experience but confidence as well. In the meantime, it's always good to work on aiming at head level regardless of where you are. That in turn will make you faster and everything will become muscle memory at that point. Tip number 3 is something that I literally just mentioned, and that's reticle placement. Reticle placement is where your reticle is going to be when you aim down sights. The best place is at head level because a lot of Guardians just walk or sprint around corners and you're already lined up for that crispy headshot. This sounds very simple, and in a lot of cases it is, but when you're inclined or even declined, it can take some adjusting to predict where head level is going to be. What I like to do is find spots on the map to align myself with head level and go from there. This is going to take a lot of time and familiarity with maps, both older and newer. Another way is to use auto look centering in the settings menu. Do not rely on this because it only centers you from the level you're currently on. If you're on the top of the stairs and someone is at the bottom, your screen won't lock onto head level towards the bottom of it. It'll literally just send you straight out.
into the sunset. Same for being downstairs. It will only focus you at the middle of the staircase. It helps even out your reticle on flat surfaces, and for those who have had a bad habit of keeping your reticle low while moving can really benefit from this. But remember, it won't help in vertical spaces.
Tip number 4 is equipment. Having the right perks and weapons is another big factor in your ability to snipe. Find a sniper that feels right for you. Personally, I like snappier snipers, but at the end of the day, it's all preference. What may work for me may not work for you, so experimenting with different things is your best option. With snipers, you don't have to go meta to be successful. There are a lot of great sniper rifles in the game, all of them which one shot to the head, so go with your most comfortable with and what feels natural and zero in on it. Revoker, Beloved, Supremacy, and Alone as a God are fantastic snipers to get started with for several different reasons. I've heard Frigid Jackal was pretty good, but I wouldn't know because I've never had the drop. Rasputin honestly hates me. Anyway, you get my point with the variety of archetypes and how they all have different feels and places in the game. Each weapon has an aim assist stat that you can build on that with mods on both weapons and armor. Targeting Adjuster adds a +5 to aim assist, and if you didn't already know, aim assist is that sticky feeling you get when you're moving your sights over an enemy. Icarus is one that allows you to have better control over your shot while in the air, but it can still be very inconsistent. Your helmet, if it's void, can roll with sniper targeting, which is an additional 5, or enhanced that adds a +10. Dexterity perks are pretty nice too, as it adds a bit of snappiness to them, so combining that with snapshot is a pretty decent combo. I do want to clarify that every sniper related perk is on void armor. There are workarounds, but I'll touch on that after finishing the immediate perks. Next is Unflinching and Enhanced Unflinching. Unflinching is, in my experience, basically does nothing, while Enhanced Unflinching is decent depending on what you're being flinched by. Then there's Sniper Scavenger, which gives you more special ammo for snipers, but only snipers. As far as other ammo, and this is if you don't have Void or aren't wanting to switch, there's always Precision Targeting, as well as things like Rifle Loader and Special Ammo perks that can benefit you as well. I mainly bring this up because I see people with Shotgun Scavenger while sniping, and they're really just hurting themselves. Building around your weapons is important to what you're trying to do and getting the most value out of using them. Tip number 5 is movement. I don't know if you picked up on this by now, but a lot of these tips loop and I repeat a lot of these things, but it's for a reason. I can't stress how important these are to really anything in this game minus specific details. Movement though goes back to awareness and learning the map. Learn your rotations and where to attack from. I enjoy hitting a flank and attacking from an unexpected angle, especially in modes like Trials and in the competitive playlist. I'm constantly looking for low risk, high reward play to make, and by that I mean I peek a lane that the enemy isn't expecting me from. I try to be as unpredictable as possible, because if I miss, I can either just fall back or challenge another lane. It also brings attention to me whether I hit the shot or I miss. It takes the focus away from the others to allow them to make a play and vice versa. If they're getting all the focus, then I have free reign to take my time and make sure it lands. If I challenge from the same angle my teammates are, there's a possibility the other team could be already posted up holding them lanes themselves. And if I pop out and miss, I'm probably gonna die. By no means am I saying just run off on your own, but I am saying to coordinate the attack based on your team's strengths and minimizing your weaknesses. If you get caught in a bad situation, I like to call that the fight or flight moment. You either bounce out and make your way back to your squad, or you can fight it out. I suggest combining these and baiting them around corners to take advantage of some chaos. Personally, I run Night Stalker because of the smoke bomb. If I'm getting pursued, I like to break line of sight and toss my smoke in one direction and head towards the other. What that does is confuse the pursuer and can cause them to look in the wrong direction. What that smoke does is once it lands, it gives the appearance of someone being in that area, causing them to attack that spot first, or at the very least have the attention there just long enough for you to capitalize on the mistake. If they activate it, they become disoriented and slowed, which makes for an easy target. Another example is breaking line of sight and getting a decent amount of distance before turning around and scoping in on that corner, waiting for them to come around. With these, you have to be aware of how much distance you're able to put between yourself and the other person to determine which move you want to use and how much time you have to set up the trap. Both of these methods use the strategy of breaking line of sight, because once you do that, the enemy has no idea where you are. That's going to take me to my next tip, and that's knowing when to disengage.
This is kind of an annoying one, but it's also necessary to your survival. As we briefly touched on, playing your life is the most important things because you can't make any plays if you're a dead guardian. If you miss your shots or your enemy team has nearly killed you upon peeking a specific angle, it's time to reevaluate your strategy and bolt it out of there. Too many people overcommit and it only gets you killed. For example, you peek out and take your shot, but you and the enemy both body one another. Instead of peeking it again, you should rotate depending on the distance to find a new angle. Taking your time will give you the impression of you're regrouping with your squad, but in reality you're searching for a new place to try again. I say take your time because in gaming, people have short attention spans and will shortly focus back on your allies, allowing you to come back and try again without being challenged. My rule is that if I'm challenged while sniping, I immediately find a new place to be. It negates the chances of trading, and trades are not ideal. If you want constant trades, use a shotgun. That's coming from a console player's perspective anyway. I hear it's much better on PC, but on console, trades are very common. Tip number 7 is use your primary. As a sniper, you need to be just as effective in your primary game, if not more so than when you're sniping. You aren't going to be able to snipe in every single situation, so it's crucial to develop a sense of comfort with the primary weapon as well. Trying to use your sniper in every engagement is what I like to call sniper fatigue. I'm guilty of this to this day, and that's when you try to fight initially using your sniper and you basically just replacing your primary with it. Sniper fatigue is a powerful thing because it can and will get you killed. Most people who are susceptible to falling into sniper fatigue are those whose shots are a little bit off and those who are going for something flashy. At the end of the day, flashy looks great, but it will get you killed more than you actually landing it. Your primary is your best friend, and you combine primary game with sniping, it all becomes more natural and feels fluid. Pull out the sniper when at longer ranges and primary ones at primary close ranges. I mean, it's kind of straightforward, you know. Rather than getting frustrated, try using only your sniper. Allow yourself to let it just happen naturally. As time goes on, you'll gain experience, something will click, and you'll know it's just the right thing to have out. Tip number 8 is it's okay to hit body shots. Despite what people may tell you, landing a body shot is perfectly fine. Not every fight requires a headshot to win. In a lot of cases, an enemy is weak and trying to escape, so rather than spending the extra time lining up the head, go for the body to quickly eliminate them from the battle. I understand it's frowned upon by a lot of people playing, and especially those who don't snipe, but landing the shot is very important regardless of where it hits. Damage is damage, and that puts you at an advantage by capitalize on you outnumbering the enemy squad while they're either eliminated or still running for their life. You now have the upper hand and you get to play the numbers game. Tip number 9 is adapt to any situation. Do not be afraid to switch away from a sniper if need be. You play to what's going to give you the best chance of winning. I hate to say it, but sometimes it's not a sniper. If you aren't landing shots and getting farm trying to snipe, it's time to switch things up. If you're getting aped and you have an auto rifle sniper, switch over to a sidearm or last word. Turn your weakness into a strength, and that person will think twice trying to straight line you again. The last tip is both practice and avoid tilt. I've decided to combine these because just like everything else I've discussed, they go hand in hand. As a sniper, you have to remain calm because it's very easy to mess up your game. If things aren't going your way, then just stay calm and focus on accuracy. Take a step back to breathe and evaluate yourself to figure out why you're dying so much. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Dying is a result of a mistake you made, not your teammates. Do not be that guy to blame other people. You aren't as good as you think you are, and everyone can learn new things to improve regardless of your skill level. Controlling tilt is huge and will allow you to analyze a lot of things you wouldn't catch otherwise. Becoming upset only causes you to make more and more mistakes. As far as practicing goes, as I mentioned before, avoid tilt and just learn. Everything in life takes repetition. You aren't going to get it right away, and you will make mistakes. I've been using snipers for several years now, and I still make mistakes. It's really at the end of the day how you handle them that will determine how much you improve. Someone who sticks with something despite being bad at it will eventually grow into a better player for it. Keep your head up and just know that you're better at it today than you were yesterday. It may not feel like it. Some level statement is true, so long as you don't give up on it. That's not just for sniping or gaming, but that's something to live by through life as well. Just don't give up. Stay with it. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. Please feel free to leave a like or comment down below if you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Maybe I missed a few things. Please do feel free to share because this is for everyone to improve, and I just want to do my part contributing to that, even if it's just one person. If someone learned something from this and really wants to get into sniping, I truly do hope it helps. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos from me in the future. Have an awesome rest of your day, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Take care.
Whoa.
Don't hard scope Goofy.